Welcome to Rhythmntech, where music and technology come together to create a beat like never before. Your hosts Kate Hill and JX Mullins bring their expertise and passion for both music and technology to the microphone. Join them as they explore the latest trends, innovations, and stories at the intersection of these two fascinating worlds. So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready for a journey through rhythm and tech.
Yes, sir. We're back in the building. Rhythm and Tech, episode 2. If you're still listening, I want to say thank you for rocking with us. Last time, we came in. We didn't knock on the door. We just bust right in, started talking. We didn't even properly introduce ourselves. We act like you guys already knew who we were. And we just went on our tirade like we normally do. So, Jay, how you want to spend it this time, man? What do you think we should do this time to make things better and to keep our audience with us?
Let's tell them about ourselves, like who we are and what our experiences are and how we know each other.
Okay. No, I'm going to let you go first because you know what? This was your idea, man. This whole Rhythm and Tech, baby, it's your baby. You know what I'm saying? And it's only right that I let you set it off. You go ahead and kick it off, bro. And I alley-oop.
My name is JX Mullins.
Jalcom X.
Actually, no, it's variable because when we first met, I went by Jay White.
Right.
When I was, doing rap music, mixing, doing promotion, doing a little bit of everything. And then somewhere along the line, it changed to Jay Water. It's always been Jay something. Okay. So I changed it to JX just as a stage name.
Sharkman X.
Shout out to DMX.
Word up.
Rest in peace. My background is I've been doing music since 1998. I never had friends that wanted to do music. I listened to music on my own. I came into music listening to all types, at home. My parents listened to country music, rock music. One of my best friends' dad growing up, he had every rock album there was. And then, when I got to school, especially when I got to high school, that's when everybody's listening to rap. So I got into rap, and then definitely R&B when I started, dating the ladies and everything in high school. So, I was a big Dru Hill fan, but listening to the production and stuff, I was like, this is something I want to do. So on my own, I went out and started getting different software. Some of y'all may be familiar with Fruity Loops or FL Studio now. I had an uncle that went to Singapore. He brought back a CD that had $2,000 worth of software on it for music production. I told him, I said, whatever you can find, bring it back to me. Bootleg software. And next thing I know, I had spread that software out all over North Carolina.
Yeah, bro. Like you was the crack software dealer, yo. Not crack, y'all. Crack done. It's actually a technical term for bootleg software. But go ahead.
But the funny part is I never became a producer. I think I produced maybe like 1 or 2 songs all along. I'm white. I don't have any rhythm.
We ain't gonna ride with that, man. We ain't gonna do that, yo.
But the thing is...
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me just interject real quick. You don't have to actually touch the machines to be considered a producer.
I know. I look at Puffy and...
You produced this show.
Well, that's true, too. The ironic thing is, from back in the day, I wanted to be a producer. I kind of wanted to rap, but not really. I want to be Puff Daddy. Like, I want to be able to jump on a verse, somebody else write my verse, and, just to get that shine. But through the background actions, I helped develop a lot of producers, a lot of rappers. I helped, bring people to get their dreams. Like, that was always my goal coming up, was to help other people get their goals and be successful. I've been able to do that. I've been out of that part of the game for, I don't know, it's been a long time. But I've always been, interested in music. I've always been interested in technology. During the day, my day job, I worked in the pharmaceutical biotech industry. I try to stay on the cutting edge of things, but how I know Kev hates me, and I hate Kev.
To the core.
But he's still my brother.
That's my dog, man.
I met him through a mutual friend of ours, Keegan, rest in peace. Matter of fact, it was in 98. There was a group of people doing music together. We met that way and just doing projects off and on together over the years. We became more friends than anything, but occasionally we'll get together and do a project. My most favorite project we did together was when he had Kickaverse Music Group and we did his Stamps of Approval album. Like, I still play that to this day, and it's about 20 years old now.
And I still get royalties off of that, man. Praise God. project as old as my oldest child. I just told my age, and I still get residuals from that, so it definitely worked out. I'm sorry, I just want to elaborate on, your good work.
No, I was just thinking what you said about your oldest child. I was thinking about when you officially dropped it was when the Star Wars, I can't think of the episode, but it was the one where Darth Vader became Darth Vader when he woke up.
He said, no.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the movie. I had to leave, man. Anyway, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I thought about that because that's when you had showed me the artwork and everything for the album.
Shout out to Tobias Rose.
Yeah, that was a dope album cover.
Yes, sir.
What's your background here?
My background, wow. Always loved music. Always wanted the same thing like you, man. Always wanted to be the wizard behind the curtain. Never wanted to be in the spotlight. Always wanted to be that producer that wanted to work with the artists. I was influenced by, Marley Marl, Dr. Dre, later on RZA. If you look at these producers, they had camps, they had production companies and stuff like that. That's the role I wanted to play. I had a certain style or whatever. I love East Coast hip hop, East Coast classic, old school hip hop. That's what I came up on. My mother was a huge Curtis Blow, Sugar Hill Gang fan. Like, she know the whole Rapper's Delight and whatnot. I just watched her, picked it up. I grew up in the projects. Don't want to use that as a cliche, but it's a real thing. I used to watch my cousin Mike break dance and whatnot with the
boombox.
And I used to see girls in the neighborhood throw money at them and whatnot, man, him and his boys and whatnot, and it just, that culture, man, like I just love that culture, didn't do it for the girls, did it because I loved it. I come from a musical family, grew up in church, whatnot, played drums, my aunt played piano, all that stuff. So music was all around me, all into me. Never really took it seriously. I had a cousin, he brought a demo tape from high school one day. It was some guys from my city. They made a demo, the name of the group called Black Radio. And I thought that all the beats and this ain't to discredit them at all, man, because they were so dope, but I thought that all the beats up there was original beats. So I'm like, dang, I got to learn how to make beats. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know how to do it. My mother, she bought me 4-track machines. No, that wasn't the first thing. She bought me, you remember the little electronic drum and whatnot?
Yeah.
Try to make beats on that. That didn't give me the sound I wanted. 4-track machines. I'm going to wrap it up, but that's how I got into it. My man Keno Jones, he gave me the Yahama that sample, and that just gave me the bug. Still being from Wilson, North Carolina, I didn't think that it was obtainable to even get in the game because I didn't know anybody around here that had made it to that point. Later on, ended up going to college, North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. Started seeing that it was a big world out there, people from different parts of the world doing their thing. Seeing cats actually put out records. That's when I first heard of Ski and Fanatic. Ski had just did Camp Low. Fanatic had did Crush on You, and that's just when I got that bug. Later on, I ended up going to technical school for networking administration. But I didn't actually get into that field. I ended up getting into the print industry for godly, man, almost like 15 years. And later on, I ended up, right now at the moment, I work for one of the largest telecommunication broadband companies, in the world. And applying that with the music and, looking at all the different technologies that we have today that I didn't have back then coming up, my job is to still utilize it, but to also, put, others that might not be technical savvy onto these things. So that's what rhythmntech is about, that's what my part of rhythmntech is about. It's about, researching these tools, utilizing them, and telling others how they can utilize it to add to their grind. I hope we did a proper introduction, even though we still kind of, scale back a lot of information about ourselves.
Yeah, we could talk. We can do 5 episodes on everything that we've been through. And
don't make me name drop now. I can name drop. But anyway, on with the show, Rhythmntech. We back. Thank you.
While I'm thinking about it, with your music and everything, what are you working on outside of Rhythm and Tech right now? I know you got some irons in the fire.
Outside of Rhythm and Tech, still producing. Currently have a group with my man Precise Politics called Stallone and Weathers. I'm producing for other artists. I'm still like a hell of a beat maker. I also do interviews for this hip hop show called Hip Hop Beats and Things with Finster Bundy. Finster Bundy used to be a part of Black Moon back in the day, and you know he asked me to do the interviews, interview different artists for his shows, and it just so happened that that same show started, you know, around the same time this year. So I definitely don't want to get too confused, but I'm over here, you know, dropping, you know, $1 billion worth of game over here, and then, you know, over there I'm just building with other artists, you know, that's really doing their thing out there. And of course, you know, I'm doing Rhythm and Tech. I'm co-hosting with JX Mullins.
That's what's up.
And I'm a family man, and you know, I'm God fearing, and you know, I line myself up. I don't really cut hair. I line myself up from time to time, though. You know what I'm saying? And I can still percolate if I need to, but you know, I caught a cramp in my leg last time.
But I'm kind of springing it on you.
Yeah, it wasn't in the notes. It wasn't in the notes at all. But let's go. Let's get it.
Doing all these projects, because like I know you were up in New York yesterday or the last couple of days.
Telling my business? No.
Handling business.
Yeah.
And I know you got a 9-to-5.
Yep.
Plus you got the family. You got 3 kids. Like, how do you manage all of this? Like all these projects, and because one thing I've noticed about you is like, regardless of what's going on, like families always came first. Like even at the expense of some really great opportunities.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How do I manage it? How do I manage it? I don't know. I have poor time management. I don't use my calendar. You even try to teach me, you know, how to use my calendar more. And I'm still bad at it. Like, I do it for us.
Yeah.
But, you know, I should be doing it for, you know, balancing, you know, everything else in my life. But I just get it in. No sleep. I just don't sleep. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a good thing. But it's like, let me put it to you like this in a nutshell. Like, all these resources that we have available today, we didn't have them available when I was coming up. So now I'm like, I can't sleep because I got so much access to different stuff now, and I'm trying to cram all the things that I didn't get to do over the years into now.
Yeah. No, I know. I feel you on that.
You know, and you know, a lot of times I'm working off of fumes and whatnot, and it's not a good thing because everything is not getting 100%. You know what I'm saying? But you know, by the grace of God, man, I'm able to pull some really good things off.
Just remember Rick Ross, you know, he was burning the candle at both ends, and he had to switch it up.
Yeah, man, yeah.
He had to give up the wings.
See, I ain't giving up wings, bro. I don't think Ross did either.
I don't think he did either. But he lost that weight.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Let's get into some show follow-up from last time.
Okay.
So I did have some people reach out. And a lot of people just talked about ChatGPT because that's pretty much all the first episode ended up being about.
I mean, that's the wave now, though. It's funny because that is the wave now. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so, I mean, they didn't have anything, like, specific that they were asking. They were just like one person commented on the fact, like, I'm the reason that ChatGPT is slow and you can't get on.
That's funny.
Because I said I use it all the time, which I do.
Right.
Like, it's not 100% accurate. You know, you got to check behind it. I gave all those disclaimers last time.
You did.
And I tell it again,
really
like,
elaborated.
Don't go trying to take a test with this and expect it to pass.
Right.
You might get lucky, but I wouldn't do it, you know. So one thing, you know, we talked about this week in between the show was, you know, Microsoft had their announcement for ChatGPT where they're bringing ChatGPT 4 or GPT-4 to the Bing search engine, and then Google, you know, kind of did a, hey, wait a minute, what about, you know, we got something too.
The scramble.
Like a true scramble.
The DC scramble. Okay, go ahead.
But, you know, they had I think it was the next day that they had their announcement, and then they fumbled the ball hard.
Yeah.
When, like, the device they were supposed to use, like, somebody had misplaced it and all that.
Now, for those tuning in for the first time, just really quick, tell them what ChatGPT is one more time.
So ChatGPT is software that company OpenAI has developed where it's been fed a whole lot of information and it's able to go through it and it's able to, if you ask it a question, it's able to generate a response, not from pulling a specific answer from like Google does from a web page. It goes through and analyzes everything and then it comes up with its own answer that's just kind of a model of from all the information that it's giving you. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's just some really good software. If you want to try it out, it's chat.openai.com.
I think that's what we forgot to give them last time.
Yeah.
We got a little segment right now that I call App of the Week. And that's, basically app that is really one of my favorites right now that's very resourceful, especially for our creatives or anybody for that matter. My app of the week, if you're not already familiar with it, is MailChimp. You heard of MailChimp, right, John? MailChimp been around for years, right? But I really don't know a lot of people that utilize it. And the reason that I say it's so resourceful, because you can put the app on your phone, you see an email or whatever, email that you want to put in, you can go ahead and add that email and it'll go ahead and, add on to your email list. It'll allow you to personalize, when you send out your email blasts and stuff like that, it'll allow you to personalize the email so it won't look like you sent out a blast to a whole bunch of people. Like when you get an email from me, it's like, "What's up, John?" Instead of,
So you telling me I'm getting a blast and not a real email?
I'm just saying, I think it's real resourceful, especially for musicians that want to send their music out to different DJs or different platforms. You don't have to keep going to your Gmail and individually emailing people just so it'll look personal. You can go ahead and kill 1,000 birds with one stone. I wish I can elaborate more, but I'll be here all night because it has a lot of good options and whatnot. But mailchimp.com. If you do join, don't just join, also put the app on your phone, because if you're like me, you will be scrolling Instagram or TikTok or, other sites looking for DJ or publicist or journalist information, and you can put it in your MailChimp right then. That way, when you get ready to send out your blast, wham, you already done hit them automatically. And that'll cut a lot of your work down substantially. So that's my app of the week right now. Get you a MailChimp. If you're the type that send out information all the time, you can end up cutting money on PR. Never cut out PR, but you can cut out a big chunk of PR with just a MailChimp. So,
well, that's not just music; it's good for anything.
For anything, right?
So
any business.
Any business.
Any business.
So if you're selling cupcakes or
right.
If you're doing some kind of software and stuff, it's a good way to send out stuff. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to put it on my phone so we can start promoting the show with it.
Exactly.
There's another app, and you're making me think about it. It's called Zapier.
Okay.
Integration and automation app. So you have a phone, somebody gives you your phone number or say email address when you're out in public. Instead of trying to put it in MailChimp right there,
right,
you can drop it in a text message, send it to the Zapier text that they give you,
right,
and then if you can set it up where it'll automatically put it in MailChimp for you.
Okay.
It could also put it in like an Excel spreadsheet, or it automates however you set up that workflow.
Right.
So you don't have to keep manually, doing stuff. Like you put something in one place and then it goes through other things. I use it all the time.
Right.
So instead of me having to go in manually and type in like 5 different places,
right,
I literally put it in one on a web form, and then it spits it out to all the different places. So it literally went from me taking 10 minutes to literally seconds because everything's automated.
What's the app again?
It's Zapier. I'll drop the link as well as for MailChimp into the show notes.
You just save money on an administrator just by having these apps right here. That does sound like you got to be extremely technically savvy to set this up.
Nah, it's literally, it'll say, okay, what do you want to do? You drag and drop.
You can ask ChatGPT to help you set it up, though, can't you?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay. I'm pretty sure you got another app of the week, but we're going to save that one for next week.
Yeah, I mean, we can go for days.
Yeah.
Moving on, and this is something that you did.
What I do?
So I was looking at looking at your tweets, and I'm going to read a tweet, and I'm going to ask you about it. I'm going to tell you my perspective of this tweet, and I may be completely off base, but I've been holding this for a minute as far as what I saw out of this.
Okay.
Your tweet handle is @scored by AH. Now, what is scored by AH?
That's my production company name. It's Scored by Achilles. One of my aliases is called Achilles Heel. I couldn't put all of that in my handle, so I put Scored by AH. And the AH means Achilles Heel, so Scored by AH.
Okay.
Might change it to something a little more simpler later, but that's where we at right now.
I mean, I like it.
Thank you.
So
I'm keeping it. No, go ahead though.
So your tweet says, leaders in the culture have the advantage to be able to fill in some much needed gaps in the experience of youth of today, but instead they choose to compete. It's sad, and it's why the line of respect is so thin between the youth and the OGs, unks, and aunties.
Yeah.
I really felt this. This is probably the wrong person to use in this situation just because of everything that he's done.
Okay.
And where he currently resides.
Right.
But as soon as I read this, I thought back to R. Kelly doing the interview at the pool table where he was talking about Trey Songz.
That's a classic interview.
I thought it was a messed up interview. Like, when I saw that interview, like, I felt what he was saying.
Right.
But at the same time, he came off as like a bitter old man. But
I just don't feel the same way. But go ahead.
But I think it speaks to a lot of what you say here.
Right.
Why there's a thin line of respect between the young and the old.
Right.
Because I know, like, when we're coming up, we had the old heads trying to tell us, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that, or, you know, they would come off on us like we were being disrespectful, which I know in our case, you know, we showed a lot of respect to the people that came before us most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time that I see it, it's like, even now as an older person, I feel like older cats come off on the young cats coming up in a negative way. And I think it's a lot of it is, it's kind of like our parents would be like, well, your mom was into hip hop. But, you know, it's like other parents would be like,
my mother wasn't into hip hop. She was into the party. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I say that respectfully, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, those songs was party jams. You know what I'm saying? It was hip hop, but it was a good time.
Well, I mean, that's what that time was,
right?
You know, when she was coming up. But, you know, it's like the old saying, like, parents, our music won't like that. We had good music, you know, and I think it just transcends all the way down. Like, and even now, like, we sometimes we repeat the stuff. Like, I mean, there is some bad music out there, but even now, like, I hear some of the music that comes out now, and I'm just like, I can't listen to this, but I don't knock somebody else that does. I just kind of look at them and be like, you know, there's some better music out there, but to them it's good, just like the stuff that we listen to. Because even now, you know, like in the mid 90s, like when Puff Daddy and all them were doing it, you know, people were clowning Mace and, you know, the Locks when they went I call them when they went silver.
Nah. See, yeah, they put on the shiny suit, but the Locks were still hard, even with the shiny suit on.
But what I'm saying is, during that time period, then a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about it. But now that we've gotten 20, 25, 30 years out,
right,
everybody's looking at it different. Like,
everybody missed that era.
Right.
You know why? Because I'm going to tell you why. Because we was kids during that era, right? Puffy was trying to make them classy. That was the classy era. See, when you young, you ain't trying to be, you know, you still trying to be fresh, but Puff was trying to be classy. He had them putting on suits. You know what I'm saying? Had them shiny, had them glamorous. Like, us being youth, our state of mind ain't there yet. So we like, they sellouts. You know what I'm saying? So now that we want to be grown and classy, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at the youth of the day that's wild and that, you know, they got their style and their fashion and whatnot. We're looking at them like they crazy because now we want to be stylish and wear our suits and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's my take on it anyway. You know, it was ahead of our time. You know what I'm saying? It was ahead of Locks' time. Locks was young too. Like, they weren't, you know, ready to do all of it or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, and that's why I look at, and that's what brought to my mind. I just automatically went to the R. Kelly interview.
Yeah, where he was talking to Trey Songz. Trey Songz disrespected him. You know what I'm saying?
I forgot what was behind it.
I mean, in a nutshell, Trey Songz was just like, yo, R. Kelly don't make good music anymore. He felt like he was making music better than R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? And R. Kelly was basically saying, look, you have your right to your opinion, but you should have pulled me to the side instead of going public.
Yeah.
And then he said, but really you shouldn't have. And that's what made that interview classic. That's what made that interview classic. But no, with that tweet, what I was saying is, okay, like you said, we had respect, for our elders back then. That's because our elders carried themselves as elders. You know what I'm saying? Today, you got grandmothers on TikTok quoting Moneybag Yo. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I ain't knocking that. That's funny. It is funny. You know what I'm saying? But that's an example that kind of stuck out to me. Like me. I'm a father. You know what I'm saying? I'm a grandfather. And I still do hip hop music. But you don't hear me doing the type of music that I'm not trying to make joints like Lil Baby.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm writing my music from the perspective of a person my age for people my age that still want to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And no, it ain't no rockin' chair music. It ain't no, old geezer music. A 40-year-old male, a 40-plus-year-old male still have a lot of things that they need to express, that they need to talk to people about, that they need somebody to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still a lot of issues even at this age. But see, it's a lot of cats my age that's trying to,
live there.
they're still trying to, live in the glory years and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because, the youth see that, like, you don't have no business being in the same club with somebody that's old enough to be, your child. That's my opinion.
Or your grandchild.
Unless it's like, unless it's like some jazz stuff or, some multicultural stuff or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anywhere where, the kids are partying and having a good time, if it ain't your building or, you ain't working security or, if you ain't working, why you in there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and that's what I think about. Like, I see some of them, especially musicians, they trying to compete with the younger crowd instead of one. I've always been a person that's always says, don't ever compete with anybody else. Compete with yourself.
Compete with yourself.
Because as long as you compete with yourself,
right,
you're gonna do nothing but get better. But when you start competing with somebody else, you're focused on them, and you go where your focus is.
Right.
So if they're performing under you, your performance is going to fall back.
Yeah.
But even still, like, if you're 40 years old, 45 years old, if you're competing with somebody under you,
you're gonna look crazy, yo.
Right.
You're gonna look crazy.
That's why. Like, I've been talking about Nas nonstop for the last few months because with this King's Disease series,
he's not competing with anybody.
Now,
if a young rapper gets on his track with him and he blows them out, that's because they're not where he's at.
Exactly.
It's not him trying to compete with them. It's just that they're not on his. They're not on his. You know what I'm saying? They're not on his skill set level.
He's not talking about 30-year-old, 20-year-old stuff.
Right.
He's talking about the stuff that affects him now.
Exactly.
And some of the music that I hear now, and rhythmntech is all music, but right now we're just talking rap music.
Right.
Is you get these rappers out here that are 45, 50 years old, 40 years old.
No, it's singers that's doing it too. It's singers.
Well, the singers too.
Yeah, they doing it. They doing it too.
But you get out here and like the lyrics don't match their age. It don't match their lifestyle.
Right.
And that's the crazy part to me. And that's how I've gotten older because, coming up doing music, I've worked with rappers over the years where the things that they rapped about, most part of it was true,
right,
but most of it wasn't.
Right. And
that's different when you're 18, 19, 20, and I give grace to 25.
Right.
But, when you start getting into them older years
the
where
block is supposed to be over, yo.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I see it now, and I think that's where the disrespect comes from.
That is where the disrespect comes.
And to me, this goes outside of music. This goes into society. Why you got kids that act like they do.
Yeah.
Like, I told somebody the other day, like, I'm not worried about a grown man Like me running up against a grown man in public or road rage, I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about these kids that do stuff without thinking.
That's right.
I mean,
I sum it up like this. The problem is, man, when you see a child acting like a child, and instead of, trying to be a better example for them, you choose to child out with them.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's where the line of respect like gets erased. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like even if you're at odds with that younger person, you still supposed to show them a better way to handle that situation. Even if they don't get it right then, they'll get it later down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, because I had this conversation with my wife yesterday. We were talking about how we grew up, and with my mom, she told me stuff over the years, and I was just like, whatever. But then when I got older, like one day it just hit me, like I see what she was preparing me for.
Yeah.
And she knew then I wouldn't get it then.
Right.
I would get it later on when I really needed it.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of adults now, like you said, they don't do that. They child out with their child.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a lot of different things, but I don't know if it's because.
John, kids will take you there now. You know what I'm saying? They'll take you there. They'll take you there, but you got to catch yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you're the adult.
Just like with this podcast right here, it's a younger audience that's going to look at us like, they're going to look at us in one or two ways. They're going to look at us as like, man, we don't want to hear this. What is this? Or they're going to be like, and these old guys don't know what they're talking about. Like, we run circles around them or whatnot. Because, like the younger people are very resourceful now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we might be talking about some stuff that they knew about 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
But guess what?
But it's a lot of people that don't know.
But guess what? The thing about age, they can run circles around us all they want to, but we're going to walk out of that circle before they learn to stop running.
And that's real talk, bro. That's real talk.
And that's one thing that I had to learn. Like, I can run circles around these dudes out here. Now, man, I just walk out the circle.
That's all I can do, though. I can't run no more.
But that's something, we're going to have interviews, coming up on the podcast. And so I want to get some of the young people that are doing stuff. I've got some people out there now that I'm not going to name drop right now.
Right.
Because I don't want to name drop and then they be like, I ain't doing your podcast.
Yeah.
There's some people that are really doing some big things that help out their community, which you don't see a lot now.
Right.
So I'm trying to get some of them on the show, but we've got other people that you've worked with over the years that are really doing some real big things, nationwide, not just doing local stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole point of our Rhythm and Tech, it's not just to tell the audience what we know. It's also for us to learn.
Yeah,
like it's a learning experience and a hub for us as well. So yeah, I'm definitely open to having some guests come through and schooling us on a couple of things.
Well, let's go ahead and get things wrapped up. I looked at the analytics before we got here for the podcast for the first episode, and things look really good. I ain't going to say like we were doing numbers, but we got more numbers than I thought we would get. So there are people out there listening. So hit us at rhythmntech@gmail.com. Instagram, YouTube are Rhythm and Tech with the N between the Rhythm and Tech. You can hit us on Twitter at Rhythm and Tech, AND.
And please remember that this show is available on Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms.
So share it with a friend, coworker, and just make sure to subscribe, rate us, and share.
Hey, real quick, man, segue. I used to think that op meant this goes to show what my age is. I used to think that an op was an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like I got the opportunity to get back at somebody. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it kind of is.
That's what I thought it was. I thought op was opportunity, but for the old heads like me, I guess it's actually the opposition.
Yeah.
The opposing force. And I still might be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
That's just a little, little hood knowledge for y'all, along with the tech.
We need to come up with an app that has all the latest
All the latest
But
lingos.
we gonna have to hire young kids to put all the content in. Cause we're gonna be months behind.
I'm still trying to figure out FR.
For real.
Wow. I learned something tonight, y'all. Rhythm and Tech.
Yeah, so once again, we're on Overcast, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Basically, anywhere you can get a podcast from, you can get it there. But once again, make sure you share it, like it, don't like it, leave a comment, and check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And we'll check y'all out again next week.
Peace.
Yep.
Welcome to Rhythmntech, where music and technology come together to create a beat like never before. Your hosts K Hill and JX Mullins bring their expertise and passion for both music and technology to the microphone. Join them as they explore the latest trends, innovations, and stories at the intersection of these two fascinating worlds. So sit back, turn up the volume, and get ready for a journey through rhythm and tech.
All right, we're live.
We live 1 2 1 2. If you can hear my voice, this means two things. It means that you tuned in and you made it to episode 3. So welcome back to Rhythm and Tech. I am your host, K Hill. On the other side of me is
JX Mullins. Did you get a chance to watch the Super Bowl this week?
Man, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the greater half of it because I was busy trying to make sure everyone else could watch it. You know, so yeah, but I definitely caught some of the highlights. I caught, the second half of the game and whatnot, and I was very surprised at the outcome.
But you're not a big football fan, are you?
No, I'm not. But still, the Eagles are hard, bro.
Man, the Eagles were going in. I'm not an Eagles fan, but I was secretly pulling for them.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts showed out.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But this ain't a sports podcast.
Nope.
But we can make it one. But no. So
and Nori laugh at the rappers who try to start the sports podcast. So I definitely don't want to fall in that category. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my questions are: did you see Rihanna?
Yo, shout out to ASAP Rocky, bro. Like straight up and down, boy. You got you a queen. Yes, I did see Rihanna. She did a great performance.
I was surprised with her being pregnant.
Yeah.
Being able to go that long. Like, she did the whole halftime show herself. And to perform for, 28 minutes, 25 minutes straight on a floating platform?
I mean, she took it easy, though, because, Rihanna, man, she gets busy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she definitely took it easy. Shout out to the family unit, though, man. That's a beautiful thing. I thought it was... I don't know what made me think it was old footage because I thought she just had her child or whatever, but I guess they got right back to it. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations, though.
Look, that's what my wife said. I was like, yo, because I was in the other room working on the podcast and watching it at the same time. I was like, yo, Rihanna pregnant. She was like, nah, she just had a baby.
right.
And I was like, babe, she pregnant. Like, she rubbing her belly and...
No, sometimes it be like that, man. You want to have the kids together at the same time, so, you can take everybody...
Irish twins.
Right. You can take everybody to Disney World at the same time, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was 8 years between me and my sister, so, my sister was my babysitter.
Shoot, man, it's, 18 years between me and my sister, so it's like... sometimes I'm the uncle, sometimes I'm, big brother, sometimes I'm little brother, so it's crazy. We got a wild dynamic, man. Shout out to my sister Casey.
Shout out to my sister Carolee. Yeah, that's one of them country names, and she'll be listening. But, so the other thing, too, was the national anthems. So I got excited this year. I've been excited for a couple years because, when the George Floyd incident happened, the George Floyd murder happened, one of the things the NFL did was it got on its high horse and was like, hey, we're going to incorporate all this stuff. Some of the stuff I'm still questionable about because, the ownership teams and how they're doing coaches and stuff. But one thing they've done is, they included the Black National Anthem at the beginning of the Super Bowls.
Right.
And, of course, there's a lot of people out there that don't like it. A lot of people that kind of look like me. But
you can't make everybody happy, man.
nah, you really can't.
But the thing about the Super Bowl is it's a diverse sport, so you have to accommodate different people, and you're not gonna be able to please everybody. Some people just want to watch football, get straight to it. They don't want the theatrics. They don't want the recognition of different cultures or nothing like that. They just want straight football.
They just want to see grown men hitting each other and
right,
bashing their brains out. And
then on the other half, you got the owners and some of the people that own the NFL. They want to show that, hey, we're not just using people out here, to be machines. Like, we actually care about their personal lives and whatnot. It's always gonna be a group of people that has something to say. You know what I'm saying?
But
no matter what the industry is. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But did you see Shirley Ralph?
Man, listen, bro. Shirley Ralph is like fine wine, bro. She looked just as good as she did when she left JJ sitting at the table, bro. Like, I have
forgot all about that. Like,
man, I never forget Shirley Ralph, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I didn't know she was a singer. I really didn't. Yeah, I didn't know that. I just knew
wow.
I just know Cheryl as an actress. She played some dope roles throughout the years.
Yeah.
But she sung that national anthem with, lift every voice and sing with conviction. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did the whole march with it and everything. Yep. She really got into it, man. And I really appreciate it. It was epic. It was real iconic. She did it with grace. She looked great. Her choir sound good. The whole presentation of it, was just real artistic. I thought it was really, really appropriate and well executed.
Yeah, when I saw it, I stopped what I was doing, turned it up.
Yeah,
and I mean, I've been a big fan of hers. I
love her.
Yeah, through other podcasts, I knew she was a singer and everything.
No, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I love her. Anyway, go ahead, bro. Yo, Cockroach, bro, I'm not after your girl, man, but I'm a fan.
I ain't got no parts in this. No beef, no drama.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
But, yo.
Shout out to Cole, man, for real.
But when I saw it, I was just like, I turned it up, and, me and my wife were watching together, and, I mean, she really made it what it was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how people could watch that and hear that and have negative things to say. Like, even whatever your politics are, like, one, it's a great written song. Like, right. It's really a hymn.
Yes.
And then to have somebody like her sing it,
yep.
And then the way she presented it, I don't get it. But the other part is...
What's the other part, bro?
The national anthem with Chris Stapleton. Now, I'll go ahead as a disclaimer, like, I'm a huge Chris Stapleton fan. My wife put me on to Chris Stapleton when we first started dating, and I've always been a big fan of his. My mom hates him. She was like, he looks like a hillbilly. But she ain't listened to none of his, like, she's listened to a couple of his songs because I've made her.
Right.
When I saw him and heard him do the national anthem, like, I know there was, the coach and some of the players were crying and stuff. I wasn't crying, but I felt that national anthem. That's probably the first national anthem I've felt since back in the day with Whitney Houston.
I'm gonna have to rock with you on this one, man. That his performance was hard, bro. Like, it was very, even though he's a country artist, but it was soulful. It was really soulful. It was really rugged. I'm gonna be honest with you, as a producer, as a beat maker, I wanted to sample that, yo. Like, it's that rugged. I'm like, man, he really.
But that's how his music is. He's country, but he does a lot of blues, and he's got a lot of influences. And he acknowledges, his influences coming from blues and other places like that.
Well, the thing is, man, I have a late appreciation for country music. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to stay too far into this, but I do want to, kind of explain, how I got into it. I was standing at the gas station one day, man, and it was a song on. You know how music plays at the gas station and whatnot. And the guy was talking about, I don't know what the song was. It was like, there goes my baby, there goes my life.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he, gosh, man, I'm trying to explain this song the best way I can. It was just a transition song from when his girlfriend got pregnant and he had big dreams and he was like, Dad, there goes my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he got married and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? He seen the baby, you know, playing and whatnot. He looked at the baby and he was like, yo, there goes my life, you know what I'm saying? And then the baby grows up to get married and she leaves the house and he's like, there goes my baby, there goes my life. And I'm like, gosh, that's so hard. I wish I would have wrote a song like that, yo. Like, you know, so
But
yeah.
you know, the funny part is about country music. Like, I grew up hating country music.
I did too.
Like, I had to listen to it because that's what my mom, for the first 9-10 years of my life, she was a single mother. So she had Reba McEntire playing, you know, The Nights the Lights Went Out in Georgia.
Right.
Like, so all them songs, like, I grew up listening to like country songs with stories, and I had an appreciation for it, but I stayed away from it for a long time. But my mom kept telling me, she was like, when you get older, you gonna like it. And I was like, you were wrong.
Nah, she right, bro. She spot on, like for real.
One day I was, and this has been years ago, I was at some kind of pumpkin festival or something, and they had a country DJ, and he was playing a song by this artist named Dustin Lynch. And I was listening to it. Oh, what is that? And I said, you know, I broke out Shazam. And
that's not the app of the week, but that's a great app. Go ahead.
It is. And it's built into Apple now to iOS.
Wow.
So the name of the song was Cowboys and Angels. But as a, you know, semi-producer, I'm always listening to different types of songs, thinking, how can this be sampled?
Right.
Or how can it be replayed? And listening to that song, it hit me kind of like it did with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay, I did with this song. But then as the years have gone by, like, one more song catch me. And then when I met my wife, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, my wife is like full-blown country fan, rock fan. Like, when you see us, like, when we first got engaged, we called it rap and rock.
Right.
Like, most people thought she was rap and I was rock.
Right.
When it was the other way around.
Stereotyping. Yeah.
Right, stereotyping.
Right.
But, you know, she put me onto a lot of rock and country. But getting back, you know, as I've gotten older, I've just fell into country music. But I'm always listening to be like, you know, we can sample this. You know, we can make this into a true hip-hop song. But, you know, I send you TikTok videos all the time now where DJs are mixing hip hop and country now, and some of it is like crazy.
I mean, well, it's a thing now anyway. Nelly, you know, Nelly does a lot of not just with country grammar, but he writes for country artists too.
Yeah.
You can hear it in the songs. I wish I could give you some examples, but it's a couple of songs that Nelly, you know, wrote for country artists, and they sound dope. Like, they're really, really dope. You know what I'm saying? Trap hats, everything. Like, but it's fire. It's like, it's not even a compromise. It's like a perfect blend. So,
but that's all it takes is, I mean, as long as I think that's the key to music is, as long as you write music and you can hit somebody in their soul,
right?
It doesn't matter what genre it is.
That's true.
It's just like Lil Nas X when he came out with what's the cowboy song that he did? I can't remember the name of it, but when he came out with Old Town Road,
right? You
know, there was a lot of people loving it, but then when they realized who it was, they were like, nah.
Well, I think. Well, you know, I'm not gonna be unrealistic. You know what I'm saying? They may have a problem with, you know, his orientation. They may have a problem with his skin tone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think another problem is, I know my problem with it is, I expected more joints like that. I didn't get it. So it's almost like he made a mockery of country music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that, because when I listened to the album, you know, I didn't expect it to be like full Old Town Road.
Right, but you was looking for some more.
But it was like a hard right turn, which I'm a type of person, like, I expect that. Just like, and I'm gonna mention somebody that you're probably gonna laugh, but like Mims. You remember Mims?
I remember Mims.
Like, when his album dropped and everybody was thinking, this is why it's hot.
Yep.
His album was fire, but nobody listened to it because they hated that song.
Right.
And I love that album.
Yeah, but that was a big song though.
But the thing is, to me, and I've never met Mims, never talked to him a day in my life, but I think he made This Is Why It's Hot as a mockery.
Right.
But it made him a mockery.
Right. That's why.
Because the name of the album, I mean, his name means music is my savior.
Right.
And then when you go listen to the album, you're just like, how come these didn't blow up? So
because he didn't come in like that.
Right.
You can't keep catfishing the game, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're a new artist.
Right.
You gotta come in how you gonna be. You change later. You know, you don't come in like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then really, you know.
I forgot who said it, but somebody said it a long time ago, and it's probably an artist that I should know right off the top of my head. But somebody said, you know, you got your whole life to write your first album,
Right,
and then you got a year and a half to write your next. Unless you're DMX, and then you can drop a #1 album twice in the same year.
Man, rest in
miss
power,
DMX.
boy. Rest in power. Speaking of rest in power, man. I want to send a true blue, real rest in power out to Trugor of De La Soul. That news, like, man, that news, no pun intended, that news hit my soul, man. That's one of my favorite groups. I always compare them to the Rolling Stones because they've been rocking ever since I was a teen, and they were one of them groups that I grew up with. And I expected to be releasing material and performing for a long time. So I definitely send my prayers out to the family and to the group, you know, and I'm praying for their strength and their understanding, man. They had just got the rights to their catalog back.
I know, that's crazy.
And I'm sorry that Trugor is not going to live to reap the benefits, you know, of that. So
hopefully his family will.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to touch on that, though.
Gaze at the sight of a method, dive beneath the depth of a never-ending verse, gasping and swallowing every last letter, vocalize liquid, hold the quench of your thirst, reason for the rhythm is for causes unknown.
All right, so what we got next, my brother?
So let's go ahead and move on to the app of the week. What you got for K Hill's app of the week?
K Hill's app of the week. My last app was what? What was my last app of the week? MailChimp?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to go back in the day one more time. You know, and the reason I bring up, you know, resources that may have been around, because everybody might not know about it. So my app of the week is called Buffer, and the site is buffer.com. That's BUFFER.com. And what it does is it'll allow you to link all of your social media accounts into that app, and you can schedule your posts and post on each account at the same time or different times as you schedule it, without having to keep logging into your different accounts and post this picture or this video over and over again. It's very efficient. When I first started using it, I think you could only post to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the same time. But now I think it's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Mastodon, Shopify. But it will allow you to post to all your social media accounts at the same time. That is something that'll cut out an assistant. That is something that'll save you some time. And it's something that's very resourceful, and it'll make you look like a machine. So definitely check out Buffer.com at your earliest convenience.
So I'm going to run down from the website directly the channels that they offer through Buffer.
Go ahead, bro.
They got Facebook, Google Business Profile, Instagram, LinkedIn, Mastodon, Pinterest, Shopify, TikTok, and Twitter. Like, that's all the heavy hitters right there.
That's all the heavy hitters.
And they not only can you publish your stuff, you can schedule your publishing. It gives you analytics to know who clicked on what, how fast they clicked on it. Yeah, I signed up. Right, we've been talking. I signed up, and I'm gonna put the rhythmntech to work. I'm gonna put it to work for rhythmntech.
There you go, bro.
Some of these places they gonna have to start kicking in some ad money.
Tag them.
Are you ready for a revolution in music making? If somebody came to you and told you that, how would you feel, like, right off the bat? If I just rolled up and said, "Yo, Hill, are you ready for a revolution in music making?"
What do you mean? Music is the revolution. You know what I'm saying?
So what if I told you I can give you AI that can make music for you, make your beats? And
the geezer is gonna come out in me. That's what's gonna happen, because I'm gonna say that the music has to come from the soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you know, I definitely use a lot of technology in creating music, but when you say AI, that sounds to me like my ideas are gonna be thought for me.
Right.
And I can't rock with that right now. I'm like, okay, you took the drummer out of the equation with the beat machine, you know, you're taking the orchestra away with the sampler. Okay, now you're gonna take my whole thought process away from it too? Like, nah, man, you got to have the soul. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's like Vision. You know what I'm saying? You know, the superhero, the Avenger, you know, yeah. Vision. That's what it's like, you know.
Side note.
Go ahead.
Where's White Vision at? I ain't seen him since he flew through the ceiling.
Yo, give it time, yo. He'll be back. But anyway,
So I feel the same way. You know, I'm a big AI.
I was about to
fan.
say you an advocate for AI, man. Like you,
I am, but this is one of those things where I said this before, like as an artist, whether it's digital creation, like, you know, photographs or
Right.
writing or something like that, it's okay to take, I feel like it's okay to go to AI and be like, hey, you know, I got a writer's block or I got a producer's block. I need to do X out of Y and Z.
Right.
And it helps you with X. But when you tell AI, hey, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and then you slap your name on it, like, to me, that's play, like,
I mean, it's people that do that anyway.
oh, I mean, I know that.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's plenty of producers that pay other producers to
That's right. I mean,
produce their
seriously.
stuff.
You know, and even that, even though it's a practice that still goes on, it's still looked down upon.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, yo, you didn't tap those keys, you didn't program those drums, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I mean, the same thing with, you know, with rap, you know, ghostwriters and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with a ghostwriter as long as it's clear up front. Like when Puffy was doing it, everybody knew Puffy wasn't writing the rhymes.
you know what? As a like down to the core hip hop creator and hip hop lover, I used to be like that, but then I started looking at some classic records, like some classic Michael Jackson records, some classic Mariah Carey records. You know, the greatest records have had about 4 or 5 or 6 people involved. The greatest records. Look at I'm gonna give you a rap version of that, a rap example of that. Look at Nas Hates Me Now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of names on that record. You know, I think you got Foxy Brown brother, Young Gav. I think he had a part in it. I think Track Masters might have had a part in it. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of names on that record. And that's one of Nas' greatest records. Hate Me Now, in my opinion, because it's cinematic. It has a lot of things going on. You know, the video made it even bigger. And it took a lot of people to make that jam.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, but in that case, I mean, but that's one of the things like I'm okay with. But what I'm saying is, if somebody takes it wholesale, like I go to you and say, "Hey, here's $1,000 check. Write me 16 bars." You know,
it's wrong if I go out and, you know, ask for some help.
No, what I'm saying is, if it's like, so to me, it's different if, you know, as a true artist,
Right.
if you go, like, say you come to me and be like, hey, I got this song, you know, what do you think? And then we start kicking ideas back and forth. Like, I'm all about a collaboration. You know, what's the saying? Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel.
That's right.
But to me, it's just like, you know, like I say with AI, where you just say, write me 16 bars.
And then you claim it as yours.
Right. And then you,
I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest in the world.
Right.
And you didn't do none of the work.
This is like if, say, Young Gav had wrote all of Nas' verse on Hate Me Now. How would you feel about Nas after that? You'd be like, that's a dope song, but you would never have looked at him the same again.
You know what? They're saying, you know, it's a little rumblings where people are trying to say that about Nas now. And I'm going to be honest with you, dude. Like, I don't care.
Well, at this point, I don't care now either.
This guy's making some of the best material. Nas is like what? Nas is like 50, almost 50?
Yeah.
Almost 50. Like, dude, you got to have people around you to keep you sharp.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do I believe he writing all that stuff himself? Me personally, in my world, yes. If I find out that he had help, would I be disappointed? No. I mean,
now, I would be disappointed if it comes out that somebody's been sitting back there and writing all of his rhymes.
Yeah, that'll crush my world.
Because in my head, all I hear is him talking about his book of rhymes and, him writing.
You know what? It'll crush me, but at the same time, you know, the execution is still there. Like, you know, it's been people who wrote for Drake, but they can't execute it like Drake can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the only thing that matters is the execution, man.
Well, that's kind of like, you know, my theory that...
Let's move on, bro.
But no, I feel what you're saying. Like, you know, I feel like there's nothing wrong with a collaboration. But you're right. When you look at when you used to look at the covers, inside covers, and see the names up there.
Right.
Like, you knew somebody else was helping write. But when you look up there and you don't even see the artist's name up there.
Right. Okay. So what you're talking about is liner notes.
Liner notes.
Yeah, liner notes and credits. Right. Okay. So you can't see them in the streaming platforms. You can see it a little bit on Spotify. You can see it well on Tidal. Like you see the producer, the engineer, you know, all the writers. You can see all of that. I guess as an artist, one thing that gets me, I see a lot of artists really going head over heels to get their music on Spotify, because Spotify is the most popular streaming platform. But yo, Tidal shows all the credits. Tidal pays more. I don't understand why artists are not running over there. Like Tidal was made straight up for the artists. You know what I'm saying? As far as I can see. And they pay more money than Spotify. I don't know why every artist is head over heels to get their music on. I mean, I know it's like I said, it's the number one platform. They did it first. So I guess they always going to be like ahead of the curve because they did innovate the idea of streaming. But, you know, your art is also your business. You know what I'm saying? And you definitely want to take your art, you know, I guess you'll get the most eyes on Spotify or Apple Music, but yo, you'll really, you know, you'll get a little more paper on Tidal. And Tidal is not the highest one. I want to say Deezer, but I don't know anyone who uses Deezer in the hip hop genre. But Deezer is also a high paying app to have your music on as well.
Apple is 0.008.
A fraction of a penny for all of your hard work, man.
But music industry revenues are now the highest point since 2002, which is crazy.
Well, it makes sense because 2002 was those the years where artists was giving away, like, I'm gonna say hip hop artists because I can't see any other artists just giving away. You remember that small period where artists was like
doing the 360 deals?
No, not even 360. Just before 360, when artists was just uploading their music to like
MySpace and
seeing space and whatnot, giving away whole albums for free.
They were doing the mixtapes,
right?
And,
giving it all away for free. And the best example I always go to is Bishop Lamont. This artist called Bishop Lamont that Dr. Dre used to produce.
Yeah.
This dude gave away like 40, 50 tracks of Aftermath produced music, man, like for free. For free. You came out of the house of Dre giving away music for free. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, Spotify came around and it's like, you know, I don't even see, you know, I don't know how active Bishop Lamont is now. You know, I'm gonna definitely do my research before I say he's not. You know, but I just don't see his music like I seen it. You know, doing what we call the blog era. The blog era is when we was giving away all this music for free. You know, hoping to get our money back. You know, through shows and whatnot. And the reason we had to give it away free because there was so much bootlegging and pirating going on. You know, during that period that, you know, the record companies stopped making money and whatnot, and you know, the artists got frustrated with, you know, their albums being held back and all that stuff. So cats just started giving music away. You know, I kind of miss that era because, man, like, I was getting a lot of music, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad that era is gone because, you know, artists can get back to, you know, making money for their craft again.
Yeah, that was a rough period. But that during that same period is when, I can't speak for all local hip hop scenes, but I know like for North Carolina's hip hop scene, that's when it really grew, because that's when your career really took off, was during that time.
Yeah, I definitely benefited from that era.
And that was a time when people were like, all types of people were showing up to shows, and you know, you wouldn't just see hip hop heads, you would see rock people, you know, people that were into rock, and you would see all different, you know, demographics at the shows. Like it was crazy back then, at least on North Carolina level.
Yeah, let me check out K Hill's album, yo. Like, it's free,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, you know, if you don't have Spotify, like, or you know what, you can still download the free. You know what I'm saying? The get the free tier and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So the generators. Did you want to touch on the generators real quick?
So I got a challenge for our listeners. So what I want y'all to do, and you can do it two different ways, but the first thing that you need to do is look in the show notes, and I'm going to have links to a few different AI music generators. So what I want you to do is go in, sign up for, some of them you don't have to sign up for, but go ahead and create some music, however you like it, with the music generator. Put it on your Instagram or put it on your Twitter and tag us in it. Tag the podcast, rhythmntech. We're going to listen to them, and the best ones, you know, we'll play in the show next week. We want to see what your ideas come from, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to play them for Hill and let him choose through them and see what he picks out. Post it on Instagram, tag us in it. Post it on Twitter, tag us in it. Or hit us on the email, rhythmntech@gmail.com. All the information's in the show notes. But we'll see y'all next week. Don't forget, the show is available on all platforms now, Spotify, Apple, Google. The list goes on. It's even in India. We got listeners in France and Germany now on platforms out there. So, yeah, get your submissions in. We'll play the ones that we like next week. We'll shout out everybody. But don't forget, share the podcast with a friend, co-worker, worst enemy, whoever. Just make sure to subscribe and rate us and share the podcast. And don't forget, share us with a friend. Hit us with some feedback on the Instagram, the Twitter. We got big shoulders. If you got something bad to say, we can take it. We'll probably laugh about it and work on it. We'll check y'all out next week. Hill, you got anything you want to say?
Nope. I just want to say thank you for tuning in, and we'll definitely have some more useful information next week in the next podcast, episode 4. Thank you.
He loves some numbers.